whole bunch of stuff like we did freely once upon a time. It's such a weird concept to think of that it's just like, okay, the internet was actually really, really good. It was slow, and it was kind of a little bit limited, but it was kind of amazing once upon a time. And it's not anymore. And it's not probably ever going to be ever again. And it's horrifying to sort of know that, that once upon a time, dial up and cable internet and stuff like that was probably the best time we ever had on the internet. And it's kind of already gone. Just shit, Oh, just an image. Yeah. Is that ADHD me? I know that. Sorry, I read your thing as TDHD. Now, I get a lot of people ask me if it's ADHD, and I'm not diagnosed. I could be. I don't know. Same with, like, autism. I'm not diagnosed. Who fucking knows? I probably have it. I don't personally feel the need to go get tested. Or, it sounds like an ST. No, I haven't, like, gone out of my way to confirm or deny any of this stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if I am, and it doesn't bother me if I am or not, kind of thing. But yeah, I understand. I have, like, when I stream, I have so much energy. I don't know, I'm constantly, like, on the go, and I'm normally, like, holding, like, several conversations at once. It does kind of remind me of the time when, like, you used to be able to do that. Also, Waver, there used to also be a time where, like, sending text messages was stupidly expensive, like 50 cents per message and stuff. At least in Australia, that's what it was. And so, like, if you wanted to message your friend twice, like, hi and hello, right? Or hi and how are you? If you didn't put that in one message, right? That was $1, right? So, yeah, there's that too. There was a point in time where you could start sending messages to multiple people at once, and it went down to like 25 cents, and that was amazing. You could talk to like 4 people for $1, and you could talk to 4 people at once if you wanted to. That was incredible. Now you can just go into a chat, into like a fucking Facebook chat or whatever group chats exist and shit like that, and be like, this is horrible. I'm just gonna mute everyone and I'm gonna leave silently as soon as I can, because it's awful now. Like, we were talking to somebody about, like, TVs and shit. Our TV's blue, right? It's broken. It's blue all the time. And we, like, briefly, like, looked at a new TV and stuff, right? And the new TVs, some of the new TVs, they have ads that pop up when you turn on the TV. And fridges now have ads when you use your fridge, when you move past your fridge and stuff, if you have one of those panels on them and stuff. And, like, teenage me could never conceive such stupidity, right? Like, I actually saw, like, a dystopian, like, 2-sentence horror thing in Reddit before I started stream. And somebody was like, just use, like, all of the last of my money to buy groceries. And then the fridge updated and said that you have to, like, pay the subscription or whatever to be able to open it or whatever, right? It was a joke. It was a 2-sentence horror kind of, like, made up thing. But, like, I really don't feel like that's very far off what's coming, is that, like, the paywall to even access the things in your own home will become inaccessible and stuff. And they really shouldn't. Like, none of this should be happening ever. That could be a zombie. I don't know. It'd be funny if it is, because, like, I haven't seen a zombie in, like, a month in Project Zomboid. It's quite funny. Have you ever heard those weird noises and beeps and video memes? They're called modem noises. They're from old internet too. Yeah, they bring, like, the most soothing nostalgia, though. Like, yeah, they're kind of painful to hear, but I don't know. They remind me of the joy of going online. Like, once upon a time, Waver, when you hopped on your computer, you were not online. You had to dial up into the internet or connect a cable into the wall to go online. You had to choose to go online if you wanted to be online to do something. And, like, when you were online, like, internet was also expensive. At least in Australia, internet's always been expensive and shit, right? But, like, you had to have a reason kind of to want to go online. You weren't just, like, always online. Like, I have the biggest problem with the fact that, like, if I'm reading, like, a saucy manga or something like that on my phone, right? I get, like, random conversational pop-ups. I get, like, my cousin, my partner, I get you guys, I get all sorts of notifications. I'm like, I don't want to see your faces right now, you know? But I don't get a fucking choice. The only way that I can not have you guys pop up is if I literally use a device that's not logged into anything. And even on the phone, sometimes I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind just having a separate phone that's exclusively just able to receive text messages and phone calls. I don't answer phone calls, but, like, you know, I probably would never pick it up and I'd never get messages. People would just opt to message me through Discord instead because I'm normally always around, like, my phone or Discord. But yeah, you don't get a fucking choice in this stuff. I'm sure there's people that are doing way worse things and have, like, their loved one's face pop up in the middle of their activities, and it's like, that's not what I need right now. Grandma, get off the phone. You know? So I always just leave my phone in the room. It depends what kind of phone you have. Like, I also kind of thought that phones were going to eventually go towards the keypad texting sort of side of things, because that just made sense. You used to be able to walk around, not look at your phone, and be able to text a whole conversation without actually seeing what the fuck you typed. And it was accurate and stuff. And then they went to screens. And because I was working in computers at the time, I'm like, we spent so long trying to educate people to not touch the screens, because back then, like, it went from CR screens to LCDs and shit, right? And the LCDs were not really designed to be, like, touched and stuff. And then technology went to touch screens, and it was like, great, we just wasted all these years trying to communicate to people to not touch the things, and now they're touching the things, and they're encouraged to touch the things. You know, it was stupid. But then phones stopped having the keyboard, and depending on the type of phone you had, like, you either had to have a little stylus, which is kind of looks like a mini pen that would be able to type on the screen to be able to type out something, or, you know, if you had, like, you'd use your fingers, or maybe, like, if you had, like, false nails, you'd maybe be able to use them, maybe you wouldn't, depending on the screen. It's like all of this changed, and it was like, why, kind of thing. And yeah, I just don't see any of this shit getting better. The fridges have ads. Yeah, they do. Hey, Viking, we were talking about the fact that there was a wolf howling in game before, and we figured it was just you and your buddies. I see he's asleep though, but later on, when he wakes up, he's gonna know about it. So what, this is insane. Yeah, he used to use mobile internet for 5 minutes back in the day. It would easily run up to $100. Yeah, that's also a thing too. I remember my friends were like, almost every other day going to, like, Coles or Woolies or whatever to go and put credit on their phone so that they could call when they were finished work and shit. And it was like $50 or something like that. And some of them would easily run like $50 a week and stuff. Just, no, I don't want to take it that way. Yeah, easily run just like $50 a week on just, like, making phone calls and stuff. Like, once upon a time, you used to not call your loved ones and fall asleep on the phone. You used to also not be able to make FaceTime calls. That's another thing too. There have been some times where I've gone to make a call and it's like the first option it wants to do is go into a FaceTime, and I'm like, fuck off, I will throw you. I am very passionate about not wanting a FaceTime. Mostly just because, like, I don't want to make a call in the first place. And, like, if I wanted to be in person, I'd go and be in person with this person, you know? So, yeah, but using it for 5 minutes means loading 1 or 2 pages and not turning off the internet. Boom. 100. Yeah, that also happened too. I had a phone that I didn't have internet on at one point, and the phone company that I bought it from sent me an MMS, which is kind of like what we all get these days, where you get like a picture in a text message, right? They sent me an MMS, and that forced my phone to download the image, and I didn't notice that it was doing it. And it took my phone 3 hours, and it cost me $300 fucking on that one MMS that I didn't ask to download. I didn't have a plan to download, and that the provider had sent me. My person's ridiculously tired. Let's send her home and go sleep. So yeah, that one was a salty moment. I made sure to be real damn careful with my phone ever since. I didn't get a phone internet plan until I think it was like 2017 or 2018 when I had to change to a smartphone. And even then, it was like $10, and I couldn't really do like much with it. It was like a shared plan thing, which meant that if I sent messages to, if I sent messages or I called the other person that was on the plan, those interactions didn't cost me anything. But then the rest of it, whatever else I did from my phone, did cost me stuff. All right, you don't seem like you're hungry. Let's see if we can lay you down in the bed for once, because you're like super tired. There goes the wolves. I know that's probably a coyote, isn't it? Yeah, you get your ass some sleep. I know it's like midday, but it's fine. Yes. In short, internet began. Everyone was in one great bubble, mixing with everyone. Now there's bubbles within bubbles, and there's prerogative for everyone to never leave their bubbles, so everyone is getting more and more lonely, never being exposed to new things, thoughts, ideas. I also find that because of the whole like forced AI shit that we've got nowadays, there's a lot of interactions where they should be humans, and they're not. And there's like a whole heap of connections that are kind of getting removed. Like probably the latest one at the moment is YouTube's supposed to be adding in, was it the summary of comments? So a summary of what the video is about and a summary of what people said in the comments and stuff. Instead of like giving you a chance to scroll down and read for yourself, like what somebody said and maybe chuckling and maybe liking like what somebody specifically said about something, it kind of like just sort of discourages you from wanting to scroll further. There's also like a lot of like thought process that's just been removed in the world and stuff because of like how technology is and stuff these days. Like I do kind of fear for what the world will be like when I'm a little old lady in need of like care and stuff, because like I have a lot of medical conditions and stuff, and I assume I'm going to continue to have a lot of medical conditions throughout my life. I don't have kids and I'm not having kids, and I do suspect that I will need to probably pay to have a carer of some capacity, right, at some point. So like knowing that, I'm concerned about who will be caring for me when I get old. Even if I'm paying somebody to do it and paying respectable for it, I kind of am a little bit concerned that like the like fucks given about like my existence won't be there kind of thing, or that like fuck knows, maybe a robot will be trying to take care of me. I think that might be the worst case scenario. I realize that this is a little bit slower because she's getting stuff out of like her inventory and putting it here. But I do want to try to like buffer up to like a really solid meal if I can, because her boredom is like, I don't know, sorry, she's not bored, she's just hopeless. That's fine. This works. Still, that's long if it's supposed to be short. Oh, the internet. Yeah, it wasn't a really long time for all this to happen. I think that that's probably the most mind-boggling part about this is like when I was probably 15, I had no concept of what the world was going to become. I used to read web comics and I used to enjoy that, you know, because the internet was no longer as expensive. And I think you guys are finally going to get hit by ads. I've been kind of like trying to snooze them. But yeah, the internet was no longer as expensive as it once was. And the world was way more connected and way more accessible. And search engines were just amazing back then. Like you'd Google something or you'd YouTube Google something, right? Search shit. And it would give you really ultra specific, accurate results for what you were kind of roughly interested in. It was amazing. And nowadays, if you try to do a search, good fucking luck getting anything that's actually like correct or what you were looking for, kind of thing. But like in my like 20s, I kind of was like, you know, this is kind of about the end of where the internet was sort of good. And I don't know, I sort of thought that like there was room for stuff. There was room for advancements that I couldn't even conceive and stuff. But it just kind of didn't happen. It just progressively just got worse and a lot worse and stuff. And I'm like, the internet kind of came in, well, I think the internet came in after I was born. And I'm 37. So the internet hasn't been around for too many years, right? And it's already at a point where it's too shitty kind of thing. And it's kind of really sad because anybody that really got to experience it during its like amazing time has to kind of like now watch it like become shit sort of thing. And like, I know there's like some level of us, like we could do something about it, but I also kind of feel like, I kind of feel like on some level, there's like a whole generation of people that are being kept away from being able to do something about it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like we were purposely taught not to be able to do something, and eventually when like the eldest generations that control it and stuff or are in charge of it pass away, it's gonna probably like fall to shit. Like, I kind of feel like I'm already seeing that with like, we've had outages on YouTube. Outages on YouTube just didn't exist unless you didn't have fucking internet, you know? Like, what the hell is this? They made an update and suddenly YouTube's unavailable for like hours and stuff. It's like, what the hell? But yeah, I kind of see like more rolling outages and shit like this is just gonna probably keep happening. I don't see it. I don't really see it improving, not necessarily in my lifetime, but I kind of feel like one of the generations that have been born after me are probably going to be the ones that either change something or maybe, I don't know, not so much like fix it, but like maybe make it better, make it return to maybe what it was, perhaps. But that means living the rest of my life potentially with a shitty internet, or like most of the rest of my life having known what it was and then having what it's become. Too tired, not tired enough, sleep. Oh my god, she's not tired enough. I can make her do exercise, but she'll probably like lose her full to burstingness. Actually, where's that book? Fuck it. Let's get your ass up and finish that book. We got some light. If she's got... I was going to make a really, really bad sentence. She's got time to read. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, let's get your ass reading until, like, the fire maybe runs out. Sorry, I meant that, like, it's surprisingly long because it shows how much different the old internet was. Yeah, I get the other thing, too, is that, like, I sort of feel like there's a lot of people that I guess kind of like maybe even look down on what the old internet was without ever knowing the amazingness aspects of it like this. Like, yeah, it was slow internet and costly and stuff, but it was new and, you know, it was good and people made it, people managed it, people built it up, and then I don't know what happened, and it's like it just, I don't know, it feels like somebody fucking dropped it or threw it feels like somebody threw it against a wall and destroyed it, and somebody's like put it back together, like Bender in Futurama, where they put his like bending unit body back together in the shape of a spaceship because that's what they think it was, and it's not. And it's like, that's my ass, you know. That's kind of how I kind of feel like they've taken it, smashed it, broken it, and then put it back together in this kind of idea of what it once was, and it's not that. And somebody's just gonna take it back at some point. That's what I feel like. Oh, you sassing him? No, it's fine. I'm sorry. Teasing him. Scared of Waver. Now I feel bad. A Waver's fine. She's just listening. Not listening. So sometimes I just reply to you my mind, like, oh, leave it at that. Oh yeah, the old telepathic communication stuff. I know you guys like do that sometimes. I know when you like open something and you see like a message and you're like, yep, no, acknowledge that. I think that went out a while ago. Let's put down more bottles. I'm gonna get this like room filled up. There we go. This is apparently hitting unhappiness. I don't know if when I took it out it was better, but she's pretty well like solid at the moment. I'm gonna put this in here too for the moment. Alright, let's go find myself a fucking fresh bottle of water. I don't know if I've got any more bottles. I got that one, but I should have like miscellaneous like cupboard of excessive water quantities, and I'm not seeing that. Like, I can take some like soft drink. It's just that I like know that she won't automatically drink from it. Pretty sure. Plus, it also makes it like really heavy. There should be like water in this cabinet. Also, yeah, the you can drink alcohol to make them sleepy. I have done that before when I've had like a really anxious person. That's been really useful. I don't know how I feel about leaving that fire on, but we're going to do it. I'm going to go back out. I've nearly cleared all the trees. I'm actually really, really content with this. We've almost cleared a passage, except that I don't really have fuel, so I will have to do a round robin and see if any of the cars have fuel. I should kind of like slightly overweight with stuff. Let's chuck that in there. I accidentally brought the book with me, and we've got the stew shit to eat later. So I'll chuck that in there. This is why I was keeping the backpack on her, by the way. It's just to be able to store some stuff. I also realized that I'm like looking up here, and I'm like, she could just walk into a zombie and I wouldn't notice. I'm also hoping to get out of fucking winter so that when I want to go on this adventure, she doesn't catch hypothermia or she's got to walk somewhere. But yeah, you know, that's taken a while. Seeing this like not snow covered is a bit of a blah. Okay, that happened to me too. Lol. I'm curious about is how anime was like for you, because I remember you saying it was ungroundish. You mean undergroundish? Or I'm not quite sure. Anime was interesting. So when I was a kid, because like I said, internet wasn't really a big thing, and you didn't really like share videos and stuff online for a while. You kind of only really saw anime if it was on TV. So whatever like the main channels wanted to show, and then on top of that, they tended to kind of like edit the content. So they'd edit it to have like certain scenes removed, or certain characters blurred out in a certain way, or like characters' appearances altered and stuff, or the voice actors for English would say completely different lines to what the Japanese voice actors would do. The other thing too is that English anime, I've always found, is substantially more violent undertoned than like when they speak and stuff. It's like, fuck you, shit this, like, and it's like, holy hell, just calm the fuck down, mate. It's just a Beyblade. But yeah, no. Same with like Pokemon and all the other stuff. Like, it kind of feels like that. I had friends, when I started working, I had friends that were into like the downloading and stuff. And I used to get given CDs or later like portable hard drives to be able to like watch a lot of anime or copy that onto my computer and stuff like that. So I did get to experience a lot of anime that way. I got to watch a lot of stuff that we couldn't get in Australia, or was just not appropriate for like kid TV kind of stuff. So like, I think the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya was the first non-TV anime I watched. And it was something. Not bad, just like so different to the shit on TV and stuff in kind of an okay way sort of thing. Like LimeWire and other kind of torrent sites used to exist, and it used to just be so kind of normal for people to just like look up an anime and download it, like once the internet became more available kind of thing and less expensive. But, you know, like internet providers weren't really being like monitored and stuff like they are these days. So if you downloaded like 10 gigs of anime or something like that over like a year or whatever, and somebody's going to be like, those are rookie numbers. I'm talking about like early 2000s, like calm your tits. Like if you download like 10 gigs of anime, it would be pretty obvious that you were doing something odd, but there's no way that they could prove that you weren't just downloading a fuck ton of porn. So, like, nobody ever looked into it, you know? It was just kind of like, these days, if you download a lot of content, a lot of the sites are monitored, and a lot of, I might be able to put this log in the car actually, a lot of, like, the gig usage and stuff like that is kind of, like, suspect. Like, I think, a lot of the internet providers have, I think it's a obligation or some shit to report if they suspect a customer is using their services to download or pirate content or some shit like that. I don't know the exact wording, but it's something along those lines kind of thing these days kind of stuff. Back when like internet was, you know, much newer and videos were uncommon and stuff, it was just kind of like not really something that would flag anybody kind of thing. In the same way as, like I said, like you download a video off YouTube or whatever if you liked it and stuff. It was just way more normal back then kind of thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. I definitely was like happy that I worked in computers because I had a lot of friends that did torrenting. Oh yeah, I haven't turned it off. Yeah, I had a lot of people that were in my life that were willing to share anime with me. And yeah, I got to experience so much anime. I had also like friends that shared like a shit ton of music and all sorts of stuff. Like, I have like a lot of stuff, but I also used to buy like a lot of manga too, like physical manga. And, you know, I loved the joy of like going to a bookstore and the smell of the fresh manga and stuff and encountering something different or unique by just walking along like the rows and stuff like that, instead of being like, oh, you're into this particular anime, well, everybody else that's bought this particular anime has also probably bought this, so you're probably also going to be interested in that, so how about I offer you a deal where you can buy X number of anime that's like, I don't know, completely irrelevant and stuff. Like, you don't get that shit when you go to a bookstore. Like, there'll be like maybe bundles, like maybe buy let's see, 3 shoujin manga for like the price of 2 or some shit like that. So you go out of your way to try to find them in like the category and stuff like that, and get an extra book and stuff for like, you know, little to no extra costs and stuff, things like that. But yeah, no, I have a fuck ton of manga. I have a huge bookcase behind me. It is taller than me. I'm 5'10", and it's way bigger than me. And it's, I would say, almost as wide as my arms can like extend outwards and stuff. And it is mostly covered in manga. I did sell like 2 shelves worth of manga at one point in a garage sale. A little old lady bought some of the spiciest shit for her her grandchild in hospital. I'm like, are you sure you want to buy this? And they're like, oh yeah, they love this. I'm like, all right, not responsible. But, you know, I also have other normal books on that as well. All of the shit on there I've read, except for like a small section right down the bottom. There's like a third of a shelf I haven't actually read and stuff. But I also have like all kinds of other stuff, like old comics, like the old Foot Rot Flats, and the fuck else have I got? Hold on. Where's my comics section? Oh, it's all sideways. Okay, I can't was gonna say I changed the direction of it to protect the fucking old pages and stuff. I can't actually see what I've got on the shelf off the top of my head. Anyway, it's there. Maybe one of these days I'll post a fucking photo of it.